Founders, are you struggling with working efficiently and staying on purpose? Oh boy, is that a challenge, right? Especially for you newly minted founders. Having that focus and efficiency when everything is so new. Well, this week's Fab Featured Founder's deep background in operations and logistics has uniquely prepared her with high efficiency strategies to help you streamline your day and keep on purpose. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fab Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, startup coach to first-time founders. And after raising 4 beautiful businesses of my own, I now help newly minted founders sleep through the night by giving them peace of mind. That's right. Using my Ande-licious strategies, solutions, insights, and inspiration, these founders are building profitable and sustainable businesses without spending a fortune and wasting valuable time. I am so delighted you carved out time to tune in and up your founder game and learn more from our featured founder. We always learn from other founder stories. We can have amazing aha moments while they're sharing how they figured it out. How did they raise money? How did they prove their value proposition? And how did they land on their business model? So I'm thrilled you tuned in. And for those watching the replay, oh my gosh, so good to see you. And I'm grateful that you're here. We're streaming live at this right moment here on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope and Twitch, thanks to the so delicious StreamYard platform. And if you want to do some live streaming, I'm happy to do a shameless plug for them. This platform is amazing for live stream hosts. Those of you who are tuning in live, please use this opportunity to expand your network. After all, this is an online networking event. Sure, we're going to have great conversations and learn from our wonderful guests, but hey, here in Boston, nobody's meeting in person. So take a moment to share your website, your LinkedIn URL, and find other folks to connect with. You never know where your next collaboration will come from. And your questions and comments are important, so please pop them into the comment threads during our conversation, and we'll bring them up on the screen live. And again, those of you watching the replay, please pop your questions into the comment section and we'll get right back to you. Anyone, if you are live and watching, you know someone's going to benefit from this conversation. I mean, come on, efficiency, streamlining your operations, someone you know is going to benefit from that. So please tag them. I am so excited to share today's guest with you. This woman is remarkable. Whitney A. White, okay? Remember that name. I'm going to want you to link in with her as well. She's the founder of Afara Global, an innovation practice that guides startups, social enterprises, and corporate teams through the process of launching and scaling new products and services. And in addition to this very valuable work that she provides, she has client organizations that she works with. She's also leading folks to take back your time. And this is her coaching practice, where she helps high achievers cut through the noise of the 1,000,001 things on their plates. Can I get a high five or a fist bump from anybody? And create a clear path on achieving the goals that matter to you most, to her clients most. And so let me tell you something from a marketing strategist, and this is why I say her background is amazing and it's prepared her uniquely to do what she's doing today. From a marketing strategist at Bain Company to serving the city of Atlanta mayor's office as a lead performance program manager to leading business expansion, supply chain, and logistics teams for the multi-billion e-commerce company McMaster-Carr, Whitney's earlier work really did. Her lived experience provided her with the superpower logistics and efficiency skills she brings to startup founders around the world. Let's bring her on and give her a wonderful welcome and a huge round of applause. Let's do this right here. Yay, there's Whitney. Woo-hoo!
Hi, Andy.
Welcome.
So glad to be here.
So happy to see you and so happy to share you and your work with the Startup Life community. When I dove into what you've been doing in the world for years, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't wait to bring this woman on and have her share these incredible insights. But I always like to know, and this is what we do on Fab Founder Friday, is find out what compelled you to leave these amazing gigs that you had at these amazing corporations where you were really adding value and launch your business and go off payroll, go off insurance, go off all the benefits and explore entrepreneurship. So share with everybody.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question because often I hear from entrepreneurs who are in that early idea phase where they think, oh my goodness, I've got an idea or I want to push forward on this project, but I'm afraid to actually leave my full-time job and leave insurance, leave that steady paycheck, all of those things. I will say in all honesty, I think a big part of it for me was that I'd always had a bit of this entrepreneurial bug. And so I didn't necessarily take the focus on what the risk was. I put the focus on the opportunity. So I had, as you mentioned, just amazing experiences working as a strategy consultant, management consulting with Bain Company, working in the city of Atlanta, mayor's office, in e-commerce, and all of these different things. But I think just even from just very early days in life, had this ingrained independence and was attracted to what I saw as an opportunity to have more independence, to be able to, frankly, make more money on my own, working right. For myself. I think there's a level at which I just kind of saw it as logical. I said, okay, I can do the math here. And I know what companies are paying for this type of work with an external consulting team coming in. And I could get a slice of that pie, honestly.
I love how you think. And I think this started early in your life, right? Didn't you do some things as a kid that were very entrepreneurial in nature?
I did actually. I started a tutoring service way back in elementary school. And it was that, I think, initial experience because I started that business and I started with one client and I was tutoring this kindergartner. So I was in elementary school tutoring a kindergartner. And then I grew that up until the time I went off to college and to the point where I had dozens of clients. I was making several $1,000s a year. And as a kid, like that's amazing, and it really felt like, wow, this is the type of thing that is totally doable that I can do. And honestly, it gave me lots of lessons along the way. I learned so much about getting clients, about servicing clients, about managing cash flow, collections, collecting
all the things, right? We should be learning in school, folks. Can I just have a little sidebar with you on this, Whitney?
Yeah.
You and I as entrepreneurs know that in school, they're preparing you to fill a cog in the wheel of the industrial world. They do not want you to know how to run books, how to get money, how to earn a dime, how to turn a dime into $1, all of those really important things that you figured out, right? And should be incorporated in our learning experience as kids so that we don't always have to be dependent on, quote, getting a job. Look, I'm all for payroll. Trust me, it's a life of security. I'll put that in quotes too.
I'll definitely put that in quotes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody who's been laid off and not expected it, they know that's the quote part. But I just think that anybody who has the opportunity to learn how to run a business and think like a business owner, whether you're cut out for it or not, I think it's an experience everybody should have. So there you were. You had piled up some amazing logistics and operations experience. And folks, there is nothing better than what Whitney learned through all these different gigs that she had, because it's one thing to come up with a great idea, but to execute and implement, that takes a whole nother mindset, right, Whitney?
That's actually what I found to be a really cool sweet spot for me when I started my own business. I didn't initially think that that's where I was going to focus, but what I started to see was that there were tons of people with amazing ideas. just like you said, Ande, tons of folks with really amazing ideas, but who were struggling to make them come to life. And honestly, my personality is super action oriented. I've always been that way my whole life. I get really focused. I make things happen. And I was able to really position myself as someone who could go into a team, go into an organization and get things done. So to go from, this is an idea, this is something we want to happen, oh, it's not going the way we want, or we can't get it off the ground, and jump in there, actually make it a reality. And that is what really allowed me to start setting myself apart.
I love that, because so often, folks, even in an early stage new business, you can have all these great parts and pieces, but it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes to take the steps or know that you're going to take these steps, or more importantly, you only have so much runway for cash flow. And so to have someone like Whitney come in and say, okay, here's what you absolutely need to do. No, don't even think about going that way. You need to stay focused in this direction. It really does save you time and money when you can focus on that. So how long did it take you? You came up with your idea. This is what I'm going to do. And I've been doing it with these other companies for a while now. I can make money that'll go into my pocket, not keeping a fraction and letting all the money go to the CEO salary and everyone else's salary. So you had to figure this out. So you launched, you put out your shingle, you started to make things happen. What did your customers teach you right away? I mean, how did you prove that value proposition, that you had something of value that people were willing to pay for?
It's incredible, because those first couple years, so I started Afara Global back in 2011. And those first couple years, I like to say, as I look back, that I did everything wrong. And you know what they say, the shoemaker's children have no shoes, right? So it's the sense of, the things to do, but when you're doing it for yourself, you don't take your own advice. And so you were just saying, Ande, about how a big part of what I do is I help founders put their resources, their time, their money, their brain space on the right areas that are going to make the biggest difference for them. That's totally not what I did. So I'll tell you what I did in those early days. I spent so much time on planning, tons and tons of time on planning. So coming from the strategy consulting background, I had business plans. I'd done competitive landscapes to understand where I would fit in the marketplace. I had all of these financial projections. And then I was doing all this, kind of marketing stuff, where I had this website and custom fonts, and then I had these logos and all of this stuff, and the business cards, and I was putting out, thought leadership, all of these things. And I had no customers. So I'm not even validated that there was demand beyond the theoretical research, right? I had not validated that there was truly demand for what it was I was trying to offer, right? And I see so many founders fall into that same trap. You think, okay, the first thing that I need is to have the website. I need to have all of the fancy things that make it look like I'm running a business. But you don't have customers. So it's actually not a business. It's an expensive hobby, right?
And I think what you're bringing up is so important, because we can do this and we can fall into that trap. Like, okay, is everything nicely organized here? And how does that look for my marketing? And how does, it doesn't matter, because you're not bringing in a dime. And so how did you go to that next step to find customers and bring them in and start having those conversations and making those calls and making those connections?
Yeah, I had to take a step back and think about the full breadth of my skill set, because I started out with an idea of where I wanted to focus. And then I just said, okay, I'm going to focus there. And I know this can happen so often, because we can fall in love with our own ideas, right? We can fall in love with our idea and we think our idea is perfect. This is great. It's totally going to work. And when it wasn't working, I had to take a step back and really look at where I could add value in what was much more of a unique way. And then I went out and tried to sell that. And as I got traction in those areas, I realized, oh, wow, yeah, my ops experience, my organizational leadership experience, those pieces are really going to set me apart in terms of being able to come in, help teams push forward on high priorities, and actually get outcomes. Whereas previously, I'd been focused much more on the strategy side, on that strategy skill set. And frankly, there were a lot of folks who are in that space and who are, offering those types of strategic services. And the reality is, not the type of work where you're going to see immediate outcomes. Whereas with what I shifted into, which that focus on the ops, the processes, the efficiency, and also just actually being able to use all of that to launch and scale products, that was a skill set I realized a lot of people just did not have. They didn't have the proven track record that I built in those areas and at such a large scale. So for instance, when I was at the City of Atlanta Mayor's office, I led performance management for the departments that ran the water utility, for public works, the folks who, fill the potholes and make sure the garbage gets picked up, and they run the transportation systems for the city. So these are really large scale departments, big operations. And also having done that with large scale operations in e-commerce, I just had the ability that a lot of folks didn't have. And so being able to figure out where I could really differentiate myself allowed me to come in and get immediate results.
Right. And you have to understand, founders, that logistics that you on a large scale that Whitney was doing, you can take that and bring it right down into the micro world that you're living in. It's the same skill set. And I love how you talked about, Whitney, how the marketing strategy, oh my gosh, there are a dime a dozen out there, right? But what about the execution and implementation and the time involved in doing that, taking that step? Seth Godin always says, hey, just ship it. Okay, but still, who's pulling the lever and saying, no, it's good enough. Get it out, get it out. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, one of the things that at some points in life have been annoying, it's been annoying for me, is just the way my brain works. I mean, it's a little bit of a, OCD type of thing. And you kind of need that for really, really great ops and processes, right? And really being able to understand how to totally set up systems that work, in the sense that I'm that person who I will go all the way down into the weeds. I'll ask a million questions. I'll understand how everything works and be able to really put things together in a seamless way. And a lot of people just don't enjoy that. And that's the thing for, a lot of founders. You guys are saying, okay, I've got this vision. Mm-hmm. And I am this visionary, and I believe in people operating in those spaces where they're going to add the most value. And so for a lot of founders, that's not going to be really getting into the weeds like that with their teams and understanding, okay, so we're going to have this step and then this step and then this step. That makes people be like, why am I even doing this? I don't know. Am I even in this
or you can call them pesky details. What's with those pesky details? But when you have someone who has that deep attention to detail, all of a sudden, things that seem laborious, standard operating procedures. Who has that, right? Yeah. That's something that has to be implemented in your business, especially if you're going to bring on an intern or someone who doesn't have the level of experience. You've got to have something that's all clearly in place so that they can hit the ground running the first day that they get going, instead of you having to take all that precious time to get them on board. I want to say quick hi to Melissa. Hey, Melissa, thank you for tuning in. Always so happy to see you. So good. And Aaron, thank you. Aaron, speaking of attention to details, this is a documentary producer and a film producer. So, you wear many hats when you're putting out that level of content. And so you have to have the right, if you're managing actors and lighting and the crew and all of that, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed just thinking about that. That could be another avenue for you, Whitney, along with businesses helping the film industry get their products out. So let's dive into how you help folks take back their time. And really, every founder out there, that sometimes you put your head down and then you look up and 2 weeks have gone by and you're going, what happened here? And let's say hi to Mia too. Hi, before we get into deep. Hi, Mia.
Hey, Mia.
Oh my gosh. How can we take our time back? Because, we're all different. You got the tech founders who are coding nonstop and making sure all their parts and pieces are ready for their minimum viable product. Mm-hmm. But then you have your founders who are more of the marketing or sales personality, or maybe they've just, they're kind of a generalist, and they too are running out of time. And again, founders do not have a long runway, as you know. Sometimes we can get our customers to bootstrap the business. Other times we have VCs who are putting money in and they have real hard deadlines on your delivering. So how do you help people get focused and streamlined? I'm just so excited to pick your brain in this because
Yeah.
logistics and operations, a little side story, everybody, if I may. When I started graduate school getting my MBA, I took operations and I was failing miserably. And I met with the professor and I said, I don't know, I'm such a right brain thinker, that's my problem. He goes, Ande, I got to tell you, you have one of the strongest left brains I've ever met. You just don't know how to use it. And it was like, I had just had this robot moment. And I went, and then from then on, I sailed through the MBA, owning my left brain and my love for details and numbers. But this can happen for you too, founders. You might be caught up in a paradigm of who you think you are. And, having someone like Whitney come in and help you nail down how you're using your time, how you're launching your products, how you're flowing your business, how you're bringing your team together is so important. Take it away, Whitney.
Yeah, what you're saying, Ande, is it's so true, because over and over again, I have seen this over the years with founders, and it's actually what inspired me to create Take Back Your Time, because I was seeing these founders who had incredible visions, but day to day, they were being pulled in so many different directions between all the tasks on their plate, all the ideas in their heads, right? You guys know you don't just have one idea, you have lots of ideas. And so what was happening is that they were just ending up overwhelmed and frankly at risk of falling short of their full potential. And that is really the nightmare for these founders, because they know that they're visionaries. They know they can do so much. They know that they have that vision that they can bring to life. But when they're not seeing it happen, that fear of, wait a minute, am I really going to be able to do this, starts to creep in. And so I was able to zero in on what were those trends, what were those patterns. My undergraduate degree is in anthropology. So I've always enjoyed really digging in, understanding people and cultures and how we're socialized and how we're interacting and impacting one another. I did hundreds of interviews and developing the curriculum for my coaching program, Take Back Your Time. And some of the things that really stuck out to me was the fact that because these founders were busy on that hamster wheel, running, they were focusing on busyness and frankly starting to take pride in the busyness, as opposed to focusing on those core outcomes, those core results. So you will hear people talk about, oh, I just, my day is full, back-to-back meetings, or, I'm working crazy hours, or I'm really exhausted, X, Y, and Z. But where's the focus on results? Where's the focus on the actual outcomes that you're trying to achieve? Because if you can start your week, instead of thinking, okay, this week I've got the meeting with so-and-so and the this and the that and this presentation and this pitch, as opposed to, hey, this week, no matter what, I'm going to accomplish X. And no matter what else happens, this is the outcome that my team and I are going to get out of the week. That is a huge mindset shift. And then when you filter that down to your calendars, to the meetings you have versus the ones you cancel, or the ones that you put off until later, to the emails you're going to respond to and not respond to, it is game changing for folks.
Absolutely. Folks, you've got to stop the glorification of being busy. Having, checking off that list. I know it feels good in our brains. Like, oh, I feel so good. I did this. No. I had to learn, because I donate my time. I'll donate my time in a heartbeat, Whitney. I have to have a little yellow sticky that says, is this earning me money? So, oh, wait, nope, it isn't. Got to go. Bye, everybody. Unless it's going to help me on my bottom line. So this is amazing advice. Please continue, because I love that you can get focused on what are we going to get done no matter what on this day. Then how does that end up showing up in your bottom line?
Exactly. And to follow up, even you gave me the perfect segue into the second point that I'm going to make, which is that we end up with these never-ending to-do lists, right? And we feel like, oh, it's just good to cross anything off, because the to-do list is so long. It's so long that we just feel a certain sense of relief every time we just cross anything off. But in reality, what starts to happen is that our time is more and more sucked up with low-value tasks. So here's the thing. When you're running from one thing to another all day long, hopping here, hopping there, if you've got, let's say, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, you're crossing off something that's much lower value on your to-do list. Whereas those bigger projects, those bigger pieces of work that are actually going to push you forward in your business, you're kind of putting those off and you're not getting around to them. And you're not crossing them off because they take real brain space. They take real time and they take real energy and effort, not like, oh, I did that 15-minute thing of responding to that email. And so what I suggest for folks that I have seen be so helpful is to actually just nix those low value tasks off your to-do list. Don't do them. Just do not do them. You see those things on there?
Put them on another pile somewhere. Can you?
I don't want to let go of them. No, you're going to have to let go, Ande. You're going to have to let go. There are some things where you are going to look at it and say, you know what? I just don't even need to do this. This is not valuable. This is going to suck up time and energy, and the world is not going to fall apart. A lot of times my clients, they get so nervous about this. They get so nervous and they think, oh, but if I say no to that person, or if I don't go to that meeting, or if I cancel that meeting, or, if I don't go to that networking thing, or whatever it is, then the world's going to fall apart. No, your business is going to fall apart if you don't focus on those most important priorities that's actually going to help your bottom line.
And as scary as that is, folks, remember, especially the email, somebody reaches out to you. And some of us have some of the polite person syndrome. Oh, I must respond. No, they'll get back to you. And maybe by the third time they reach out to you on LinkedIn or an email, then, okay, they really mean business. And you can start saying, okay, I'm in. Or you can just say, not a good time.
Yeah.
Taking a pass.
Like, hey, can I schedule some time to just kind of pick your brain? And if you don't have it, if you simply do not have that, then you have to say no.
Or you can say, as soon as you process that invoice, you can pick my brain.
That's a good one, Ande.
Oh my gosh. Well, I do pitch deck reviews. It's one of my sweet spots, Whitney. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many people say, oh, Ande, can you take a look at this? I said, sure. It's $500. Mm-hmm. And we get on Zoom. We'll go over it. We'll come through it. And if you're raising thousands of dollars, you better have someone like me reviewing your pitch deck, just saying. But to reach out to someone and say, oh, can you take a quick look at this? No. So if you're anyone who's listening and you're a service-oriented business, really think about this. And I know some of us have to ask people for help and build a relationship with the person, build some equity with them so that they feel like, wow, you've done enough for them and helped them in their business that they are now willing to give back.
And make it mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So if I have a networking chat with someone, I'm looking to add value in that conversation, right? So if it's someone where I reached out and I wanted to have a 30-minute chat, first of all, I do not think people need to be, reaching out to pick someone's brain and, and trying to do like a 90-minute working session, right? Right. So I'm reaching out, suggesting a short chat, but then I always am asking the person, even if there's someone who's being helpful to me, how can I be helpful to you? Right. Even if the dynamic is such that they might be a mentor or someone like that for me, I'm still going to ask, how can I be helpful to you? Is there anything I can do to be helpful? So that it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not one where you're expecting someone to just, continuously give of their time and energy and not really, offer anything in return, because then that's not really a relationship, right?
No. Reciprocity, number one rule. And it's funny you brought up about the time. I used to have the 30-minute convo. I had to push it to 15 minutes because I over deliver anyway. So this way, at least I knew that it would only be a 30-minute.
Go over the time.
Because of course, I'm curious. Well, how did that happen? How did this happen? The next thing you know, I'm sharing stuff I should be charging for. Again, my biggest challenge is to stop donating. But let's go back to a point that you made earlier about when we have to drop off those things off our to-do list because we are avoiding. Procrastination is fear, everybody. And boy, founders can really get stuck on that. And when you have to carve out time and really, sometimes you feel like you'd like to go into the bathroom and clean it with a toothbrush rather than deal with something that's on your plate because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But let's talk about how we can shift our mindset so that when we're looking at a big, hairy problem that's just kicking us and we're avoiding it, how to drop those things. Okay, we've dropped those things off our to-do list and now we have to focus, especially when when you're first having to go from that employee mindset where you've got someone who's giving you deadlines and deliverables time sets to having to do that for yourself and really nail that important item on the list for your business?
Yeah, it can definitely be easier to kick the can down the road, right? And procrastinate and say, okay, I'll get to that thing later. I'll get to that thing later. But honestly, that starts to dissipate when we shift our thinking about what it is we really want, right? It goes from this dread of, oh, I have to work on this to, wait a minute, what's my vision for my life? What's my vision for my life? And this is initial work that I do with my clients when we're first getting started, because this really grounds us in that North Star. So having that really clear picture of what's most important, those most important goals across all the areas of your life. And obviously your business is going to fit into that. And then being able to say, okay, what's the path to get there? Having that clarity to know these are the steps. This is the path that I'm going to need to go down from where I am right now to where I'm going with this vision for my life. And then when you can tie those day-to-day, week-to-week priorities back to those big action steps, it's a different kind of feeling, because you're not just running around doing random things. You're now able to see, wait a minute, when I get this done, this is going to put me a huge step closer to my overarching vision, to that place that I'm looking to go with my business and for my life. Now I'm excited to get that done. I'm excited to get it done because I know it's going to make such a big difference and have such a big impact. When you don't have that clarity, it's just another responsibility. It's just something else on your to-do list, because everything is just a giant responsibility. Everything is just something on the to-do list that has to get done. When you really clear that up and you get rid of the noise, you get rid of the things that aren't that important, and you're left with just those top priorities, what's most important, you can really have not only the time and the energy, but also just the excitement to jump in and attack those and really feel like, wow, I can take this forward, and this is going to take me to that next level in my business.
That is a serious mindset hack right there, everybody. I hope you nailed it down. I'm right with you, Mia. I mean, I'm writing down the timestamps, so I'm catching everything so that when I put this up on YouTube, everybody can go click, mindset hack, click, here we go. I agree 100%, Mia, on the love in this conversation. You know, this is what we have to do, founders, as we've let go of our employee mindset, where we don't have the awards for whatever we're doing. There's no milestones that someone else is setting for us. We're doing it. So we have to have these mindset hacks to help us get over these humps and shift our perception. That's really all it is a shift of your perception about something that will then help you achieve, where you can sit back and go, nailed it. Love
and
that.
That is just so critical, Ande. And I'm so glad that you are kind of double clicking on this, because the mindset drives everything. It truly does. Because yes, in my program, we've got systems and processes around time, and we've got all these tools that really help my clients manage their time day to day, week to week. But it all starts with mindset, because if you have the tools, but you don't have the mindset around it, then you're not going to use the tools, right? How many of us, you know, maybe say, oh, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do this, or I bought that book and I'm going to read that book, or I'm going to try that new recipe, or I'm going to work out this many times, or because I have the membership, and whatever the case is. But until we really get that mindset in the place where we are focused and committed, and we say, okay, yeah, I'm really doing this, and I know why, and it feels really important to me, and I know that I have what I need to stay on track, then we often can just feel like, oh, you know, I don't really want to do this, or I don't want to get started, or, you know, and we can talk ourselves out of anything.
So easily, everyone. And what happens is you fall out of integrity with yourself, because integrity is about the promise you're keeping for your work, for what you want to have in life. And when you fall out of integrity, you start to feel badly. And when you start feeling badly about yourself, that's just never going to win. Right, Whitney?
No. And it's so important in terms of being in integrity with yourself. It's one of the things that I do that I think often surprises folks, even when we're doing goal setting. So I do not believe in aspirational goals. So I know a lot of people, you know, might have that whole, you know, saying, shoot for the moon. And, you know, if you don't reach it, at least you'll fall among the stars, and that whole thing, right? I do not believe in that. We do not do that in my programs. I do not do that in my life. We set goals that we are actually going to meet. So there's none of this, oh, you know, I set this goal and I came in like halfway there, and so that's fantastic. No. What we do is we get really clear on what you truly want, what it is that you want for your life, for that business, and we get clear on how to make it happen. And there's not any of this, well, I'm going to kind of halfway do it or any of that. No. I definitely have a strong personality, as you guys can tell. So the clients who come to me, and who decide to work with me, because I'm very thoughtful about the clients that I'm working with to make sure that that's a fit, they're committing. They're committing to, hey, no, I really want these outcomes. I really want to do this. And even if it's something that I'm afraid of, even if I get nervous, even if I'm kind of afraid that I might fail, or I'm afraid, frankly, of being successful and how that might change my life, I know deep down that this is what I really want. And because I know that Whitney's not going to let me off the hook, then yes, I want Whitney's help to get there.
I love that. Something fierce, everybody. To think that you're going to do this on your own is a huge mythology. It's just, and also a huge mistake as a founder. You see all these, we'll use the athletic world, right? You see the pros out there kicking it. They didn't do it alone. They had someone every day making sure they stepped up and brought their excellence and their A game, their A++ game. Not easy to do that on your own. You can see yourself having conversations. Let's do this. I think I'll go watch TV.
Exactly.
I think I'll go for a hike. Let's do this. I've been wanting to catch up with Mary lately. Let me give her a call.
Totally. And with the athletes, Ande, they don't just have one person. They have teams, right? Like from the nutritionist to they have trainers for specific areas of their fitness. They have multiple different trainers. And then they have skill coaches, folks who are working with them specifically on certain skills. So it's really a myth that founders get out here and you just wake up and you're successful and there's no one who helped you along the way. And I believe in the same thing for myself and for my own business. I've had coaches over the years. I have experts that I'll go to if I'm looking to do something new or different in my business and it's an area where I don't have as much expertise. I will tap an expert for sure, because I recognize the value of expertise. I also recognize that we can't see the back of our own head. Perspective, right? Well, perspective is so important.
And also, I'm a firm believer too, Whitney, about pulling on threads. And as a founder, you got to pull and fail fast, meaning pull on it because it was a good idea. You had some great information to back it up, but don't hang out in it.
Yeah.
Without someone like Whitney to help you say, okay, is that in alignment with your goals? Okay, it meets all these criteria. Let's see what happens. Boom, nope, done. Empty hole. Nothing in there.
And I love what you mentioned earlier, Ande, minimum viable products. I use a lot of lean startup methodology with my clients on the innovation side with those clients, and also on the coaching side with those clients, because we're not going to spend, weeks and weeks and months kind of theorizing about things and thinking, oh, well, if we did this would happen and that would happen. No, we're going to develop a test and we're going to get out and test it and see what happens. And we're going to learn very quickly. We're going to use that data. We're going to learn and we're going to iterate, as opposed to being in this place where, the time is going by on the calendar and we're still, in our head thinking and over analyzing.
And folks, it's so easy to get looped into some of these coaches out there that charge thousands of dollars and they give you zero results, and then they make you feel badly because it's you who didn't do the work or something. And it's not. You can't go figure this out in, quote, a day long, one-on-one meetup with someone. No, you have to have accountability, set the plan into place, check in, recalibrate, check in, recalibrate, and be 100% focused. It's not going to happen in a day, but it doesn't need to take months to make this happen.
Yeah.
And time is so valuable as a founder, whether you're scaling or whether you just want to get some money in the door. You do not have the time to sit back and see how things, quote, unfold.
Yeah.
Which goes back to your aspirational
goals, right? Oh, maybe we'll get there. Maybe something will happen. And honestly, when I'm having those conversations with folks, and even when I'm screening potential clients, I'm looking to see, is this person really serious about this, right? Or is this an expensive hobby, right? Is this an expensive hobby where they're just kind of, saying, I'll spend a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there, and then I want to blame the fact that I'm so busy, instead of saying, no, I haven't actually been committed. And I am not really serious about it. So it's important, honestly, to just get real with ourselves about what's really happening. And that is something that is a big goal and a takeaway for me when I'm doing these complimentary sessions that I'm offering for your audience. Whatever is really driving someone, whether it's, hey, I really want to make this happen, but I'm finding that I don't know where to invest my time. I don't have that clarity. I'm not able to prioritize. If that's the case, or if it's the case that, hey, you know what? I'm just actually not wanting this anymore. Whatever it is, I call these breakthrough sessions because we get really clear on what is actually happening. Like, what's the real deal of what's actually happening?
And I imagine sometimes you find out the person may not be cut out for this work, that they would be better served continuing as an employee somewhere, which is absolutely fine. Self-awareness is everything, everybody. And you cannot blame yourself for maybe this not being where the best use of your time and your gifts. You may need to be funded to do that within an organization. But at the same time, you could have some really bad habits that are not working for you. They're working against you as a founder. So you could have this moment of feeling fulfilled, getting to, replace that six-figure income you were making in corporate and then more, if you knew how to leverage your time, leverage your services, leverage your products. Can you talk a little bit about the calendar, and then we'll start to wrap things up? Because how do you know? Everybody says, oh yeah, get it on the calendar. What are your thoughts about that?
I am very protective of my calendar, and I push my clients to be very protective of their calendars as well. I personally do not enjoy just kind of meetings for the sake of having meetings. Now, everybody has different work styles. So for instance, I have some clients that really feed off of everybody else's energy and ideas, and they really find that they work best in that type of environment of having meetings and being able to bounce ideas off of people and all of that, right? So some people work really, really well that way. The important thing, though, is that you're not just filling your days with that, especially if you're an extrovert and you may really just enjoy meeting with folks. It's important not to just fill your days with meetings that can be going in tons of different directions. You have to take it back to the priorities, take it back to the outcomes that you're after. What are those core results for that quarter, for that month, for that week? And make sure that those meetings are aligned with that, right? Not that you're just spending your time in tons of different ways. And this is important because our brain then is going in all those different directions. Anybody who's ever had a vision, right? If you're operating in that visionary space, you know that you can't even fully flesh that out. If your brain is going in 20 different directions, you need time to really be able to focus that energy and have that brain space. That's when your best ideas are going to come. That's when that problem that your team couldn't figure out, bam, you just get a solution for it that comes to you because you have that brain space. So even if you really, really enjoy being in meetings, being super interactive like that and kind of bouncing ideas around, make sure it's aligned in terms of your goals and your prioritization. Then there are folks who are more like me. I'm an introvert. I know you can't tell because I'm so I'm a super outgoing, chatty introvert. But I need time to myself to be able to have that brain space, to be able to really kind of think big picture, all of that, right? And so for me, I'm very protective in terms of meetings. So I have my one-on-one sessions with my clients. I have lots of open spaces where they can just grab time from my automated calendar whenever they want to do a session. But then when it comes to my own team or for prospective clients, et cetera, I am much more careful about my calendar. And some of the things that I'm very particular about is, okay, does this need to be a meeting? And I emphasize this with my clients as well, especially those who are managing large teams. Can this be an email? Right? Do we need to sit in a room for an hour, or can this person send this as an email? One of the things that I love, love, love as a tool is Slack. Can this be a Slack conversation? Can somebody ping you this information over Slack, right? Is this something that really has to be a meeting? And so asking yourself those questions so that you can protect your time is super important. And if it does have to be a meeting, does it have to be an hour? Can it be 30 minutes? To Andy's point, can this be 15 minutes, right? Yeah. So really just asking those questions and being critical. The biggest mistake that I see, honestly, when it comes to meetings is that folks just let anything come on in. Somebody sends it to you, you just accept it and think, oh, I need to go to it. No. And also that we just kind of assume that a meeting is required. So if we're the ones who are setting the meeting, we just assume that, oh, this requires a meeting. So
yeah, and that was a bad... Yeah, that was a bad habit one learned in corporate, right?
Right. Yes.
In the larger cultures. And I do have one more question,
Go
Whitney,
for it.
because tracking. I want to know your thoughts on tracking because for me, tracking results is so key. I don't care if it's week by week, seeing a tick up, seeing some improvement. What are your thoughts about that?
It's super important. It's so important. And frankly, you need multiple different ways to be able to track to know whether you are on the right path, you're continuing to move in the right direction, you're keeping momentum, or frankly, if you're off track and you don't have momentum. And so what I actually do with my clients, we have a few different tools that we use kind of at that larger scale, and then at more of that month-to-month level. And then we also even can see at the week-to-week level. And this is important because you want to know that you're not going to have a month go by of putting in the time and effort that comes with being a founder. And then you look back and say, wait a minute, I didn't even accomplish the goals that we had for that quarter. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to sneak up on you. You want to be able to hold yourself accountable, and you want to be able to know that, hey, if something is not on track, I can see it early enough to course correct, to be able to shift my energy, shift my time so that I know we're going to hit those targets. And what is so powerful about that is momentum. I see this over and over with my clients. They see, okay, Whitney's telling me to do this thing. It's uncomfortable. I am nervous about it. I'm having to shift some of my habits and routines. I'm used to doing things this way. But as soon as they start to see those results, they start to get more and more energized. They start to be on that momentum, and they're like, I want more of that. I want to do more of that. I'm focused. Now I'm checking my tracking more regularly, proactively, so that I can see I'm moving forward, so I can see the outcomes. And that's what you want, because you start to replace those old habits that were keeping you stuck and keeping you from really getting to your goals with the new habits, those new routines, and that momentum to get you where you really want to go.
And the beauty of the tracking, folks, is that you'll see what's not working. And then follow Whitney's advice, wipe that off the plate. Not doing that. There's nothing there. Empty hole. And for tracking, it could be like setting up your strategy and the tactics that you're using, right? And then saying, okay, we're going to watch how this grows weekly, monthly, quarterly, to get that inspiration that we need to keep going as founders, because boy, there's nothing that feels better than the smell of sweet success and accomplishment in the morning when you're seeing results. It's the best. Whitney, quick question, because this is important for founders to understand, that the first time founders especially, that we all suffer as a founder from going, what are we doing here? Do we really know what's going on? What's happening? Am I a founder? Am I adequate enough? Or am I just an imposter? How have you managed this through your time as a founder that you think would help others?
Yeah, I have definitely had those moments where I felt like, I'm kind of just feeling around in the wilderness, right? Where, maybe things are going just fine, but I just feel like, okay, what's next? And where am I going? And then I've had it in the sense where, wow, things are not going the way that I want. Like, what's wrong? Like, what's happening? And what I have found is that for me, a couple of things are super important. One, when I'm having that experience, it's because I have lost track of what the vision is, of where I'm actually going. I've gotten caught up in the day-to-day, caught up in the week-to-week, and really need to take that step back and connect to what is it that I truly want? What is it that is truly most important to me? And not just for the business, but what is it that I want my life to look like? Because we are not just our work. We're a whole person. And frankly, everything is interconnected. So if some parts of your life are totally out of whack and not what you want, that's going to filter over into what's happening professionally. That's going to filter over into your business. And so being able to take a step back and have that holistic view, and I work with my clients across all the parts of their life because they are so connected, having that holistic view and being able to just get that clarity if you're ever feeling lost is super, super important. And I use my program, honestly. I actually dig in and say, okay, this is now where I see that I want to go. This is what's most important to me. This is this vision. This is the next phase for me. How do I get there? And once I build out that path to get there, I zero in on where I need help. Right. So I am not going to, buy into this myth that you have to do all the things yourself. You have to put all this pressure on yourself to be totally, totally independent and never need help or need an expert. No, I zero in and say, where do I need help? Because this is going to keep me from running myself ragged and just being, crazy with so much going on. And then I find the experts. I find the support. I find the experts, whether it is a long-term engagement with a coach who's going to work with me on a particular thing, or whether it's a short-term engagement with a consultant who's going to come in and who's going to work in a particular area that doesn't match my expertise. I get really clear on where I need that help, because honestly, what happens without that is that we start to say, well, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I couldn't do this. I failed X, Y, and Z. And that's BS. That's BS. Which one of us is perfect at every single thing? Nobody, no one, right? And the idea that we need to be that way is a total trap.
I love that advice. And speaking of experts, Eric Cox is an amazing expert. His business is Media Prepared. These are real feelings of imposter syndrome, particularly in this new reality. Yeah, when things have shifted from the pandemic, you can easily start scrolling down in that I'm not valuable anymore. Yeah. But to Whitney's point is that to expect yourself to be brilliant in all these other areas, that's crazy. I mean, if you're a giraffe and someone says you have to go swim like a fish, what? No, you'll find a fish and say, there you go. There's the fish swimming in the pond. I'm done. You just have to find those team members. And, I'm totally guilty of this because I happen to be very talented at a lot of things.
Right? All founders are. And so we can fall into that trap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We can think, okay, well, I can do this well enough, and I can do this well enough, and this well enough. And so then I'll just do everything. But what happens is that there are areas where you are uniquely gifted, where you add differentiated value, where you're going to add value in a way that nobody else could come on your team and add value in that way. But you can't focus in that area because you're trying to do all the things. For me in my business, I know that what I do with my clients, how I'm able to really see what's happening within their organizations. If they're a founder just starting out, how I'm able to see what's happening with them, with their lives, with their business, the way I'm able to see those things, jump in and speak very directly, very clearly, help them get on that path and hold them accountable and support them when they need it. The folks who are doing my copywriting, the folks who are running my tech, the folks who are doing my graphic design, they can't do those things.
That's right.
I don't need to be spending my time doing all of those other pieces of the business when nobody else can do the part that I'm doing, right? My bookkeeper is amazing, love her, but she can't do what I'm doing with my clients, right? Yes. So I have to free myself up.
So as much as you love QuickBooks, folks, and you love entering all those numbers, or as much as you love creating things on Canva, look at your high ticket items, look at what's really bringing the money into your business, focus on that and let other people delight you with their services. I love that, Whitney. So speaking of delighting, how may we serve you and your business? How can the startup community put some wind into your sails and move you forward as well?
Yeah. First of all, I would love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. It's at Whitney_A_White.
Right there under her beautiful name there on the screen. And
right
I'm grabbing these links and I'm putting them in. They'll be in the show notes for you folks who are watching replay. And for folks who are watching right now, I'm popping those links so you can follow Whitney right away into the comment threads. What else? How else can we
connect with me on LinkedIn? So the links will be in there. Follow me on Facebook. And for those folks who are saying, wow, what Whitney's saying really resonates, and I think I might want her help, grab a complimentary session. We're going to talk about your goals. We're going to talk about those challenges that you're facing. We're going to get really clear on what's going to make the biggest difference in terms of you moving forward and getting to those goals that are truly most important to you. And I honestly really pride myself on this being such a valuable conversation, regardless of whether or not I tell someone, okay, yes, you're a fit to work with me, or no, this isn't really a fit. I want to make sure that people get real value out of this conversation. So WhitneyAWhite.com/time. And that's going to be a different link, not the links that are on my website. So get this link, WhitneyAWhite.com/time, and get that 50-minute complimentary breakthrough session.
That's right. And it's also been on the banner at the bottom of the page the entire time. complimentary. I mean, look what we just got done in the 54 minutes here with Whitney. And I blabbered a bunch. So can you imagine what she could do for you with a one-on-one session? That's brilliant. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to say a quick follow-up for my own folks, for my own community, and just thank you so very much for tuning into this episode of the Startup Life Show, Fab Founder Friday. We talked about Whitney and her wonderful, beautiful business, and we learned so many things about her. You can see again at the bottom of the screen how you can connect with Whitney and move your business forward and help achieve your goals for your business through her, as you know, her coaching services and her ability to help you take back your time so that you're nailing down those things that you need for your business. Do you know someone that you think would be a fun guest to have on the Startup Life Show? Shoot me a comment in the comment thread or an email, Ande@andelyons.com. Or is there a topic you'd like me to bring in that would really help you up your founder game? Because as you know, as we do better as founders, our businesses will do better. And if you have any questions for Whitney or for me, just pop them into the comment section. We will get back to you. For those of you who are watching the replay, I'd be so honored and delighted if you would click on the subscribe button and the bell so that you're alerted every time I post another video. This is all DIY founder advice to help you flourish with your business, especially if this is your first time showing up as a founder. And if you are ready to stop struggling alone as a first-time founder and stop wasting money and stop wasting time, schedule a convo with me as well. I offer startup strategy sessions, funding strategy sessions. You heard me talk about my pitch deck review. This is my superpower. This is my sweet spot. I help founders all the time with their pitch decks. Heck, I co-host a monthly pitch event, a popular monthly pitch event here in Boston. So I know what your deck needs to look like so that you get the successful outcome that you need with your business. So all the links to book a free call with me are in the show notes. And I am just so thrilled, everybody, that you tuned in and joined us today. And let me just bring Whitney back into the picture here. Oh my gosh. So Eric says, Whitney, you are dynamic, great in energy, truly. That's so great. Thank you, Eric. And then Rachel Solomon of Honor Code Creative would be a great guest for your show. Thank you for that advice, Melissa. I really appreciate that. And we're here to help you, Glow Goddess.
Yes.
Mia. So anything we can do to help move your business forward, Mia, please let us know because you are amazing and you serve people all the time. Okay, Whitney, any last thoughts for folks before we sign off?
My closing thought would be that it's so important to think about your time as your life, because that's what our life is. Our life is made up of seconds that become minutes, that become days, that become years. And taking back your time is really about taking back your life so that you can actually accomplish that vision, those most important goals that you have for your life and maximizing that potential that you have. So I am so thankful for being here. And I hope that you guys got tons and tons of value out of our conversation.
Am I right, everybody? Got to bring those claps in. Whitney, outstanding conversation, outstanding advice. I have great timestamps now for the YouTube archive because you were brilliant on so many levels to help founders everywhere they glow. I'm so grateful. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Ande. You and your audience are fantastic.
Hey, thank you. And founders, thank you for tuning in. Remember, stay focused. We just talked the whole hour about that. Stay strong. And remember, you've got this. You really, really do. See you the next time. Mwah, everybody.
Bye.